Greetings, Earthlings! Welcome back to 7th Street. So recently, I lost my pet cat. He was a black cat named Edgar Allan Poe, or Poe for short. Popo, as I like to call him. Anyway, I insisted on getting a black cat named Edgar Allan Poe for one reason, and one reason only.
But he's only a cat. What you're saying isn't possible.
The Black Cat is a 1981 supernatural horror film directed by, you guessed it, Lucio Fulci.
If he was human, we'd hang him.
This movie is unusual, even for Fulci. The plot is obviously loosely inspired by the Edgar Allan Poe story of the same name. Now, when I say loosely, that's a bit of an understatement. I mean, the original Poe story is about an alcoholic man who kills his wife's pet cat, and then is subsequently haunted by what he thinks is the spirit of said cat. By the end of the story, the man kills his wife in a drunken rage, hides her body in the wall of his home, but then is ultimately caught by police when it is discovered that he accidentally walled the cat in with her. And the cat's howling is what led the police to find them both.
He always hated me. And now he has won.
There are a lot of movies inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's short story. You have the Universal classic starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, which has even less to do with its source material than Fulci's film. There is also the Sergio Martino giallo, Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, and then of course you have the fantastic short film adapted to the screen by Dario Argento.
They forced me to obey the evil side of my nature. That evil that exists in all of us.
But I gotta say, this version of the Black Cat is my ultimate favorite. It's loose on plot, but super heavy on atmosphere, which can sometimes be a bad thing. But here, it works really well.
Every time I watch this movie, I can't help thinking how much it resembles a Hammer film. I mean, it's just so much different from every other early 80s Italian horror film.
The movie opens with a man who's minding his own business, driving his car through the streets of a beautifully photographed Italian town, when he suddenly encounters a strange black cat in the back seat. Through the cat's mesmerizing stare, it causes the man to crash his car into a lamppost, killing him and setting the car ablaze. Roll credits. We watch as the Black Cat travels along rooftops and down cobble streets back to its home, which is a crumbling old house occupied by Robert Miles, played by Patrick McGee from A Clockwork Orange. Robert is a former college professor of the supernatural, who's also believed to be a medium. The weird old professor lives alone except for his monstrous black cat, and the professor spends his time making audio recordings at the tombs of the recently deceased, so that he can, get this, use the spirits of the dead to possess his cat and exact revenge on the people of this sleepy town.
That kid is a bad kid!
Probably the best kill in this movie is also one of the first. A couple of horny young adults decide to get it on in an abandoned boathouse, which happens to have an airtight room in it. The cat, being the psychopathic mastermind that it is, manages to lock the couple inside while also chewing through the wires of the air conditioner, or air purifier, or whatever the fuck it is. It's the thing that lets air into the airtight room. Anywho, we watch as the couple lays together on the floor, hand in hand, as they slowly suffocate to death.
Can you now see why this movie made me want to get a black cat of my own?
We then meet Inspector Gorley, played by David Warbeck, who's tasked with solving the ghastly murders in this little Italian town. Unfortunately for him, this pisses off the black cat, and so he goes on a complete rampage. The cat even becomes too much for the professor to handle, attacking him and attempting to go rogue.
Who's my kitty? Who's my Mr. Kitty? My fluffy old pal. Yes, 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 my Mr. Kitty. Yes. Don't do it, my kitty!
Professor Miles then tries to kill the cat, but this only makes things way worse. It unleashes the cat as a supernatural force. Inspector Gorley then encounters the evil creature for a second time and is attacked and then hypnotized. He staggers onto the road in front of a moving car and then gets run over.
Dope.
The ending of this movie is a little convoluted. I mean, I won't completely ruin it for you guys, but what I will say is it does have to do with the professor attempting to wall the woman up in his basement, but he's ultimately thwarted by, you guessed it, everyone's favorite anti-hero, the Black Cat.
I didn't want to kill.
This is such an interesting entry in the Fulci filmography. It's just so much different from his other films, especially his other films from the early 80s. I think most people go into this movie expecting a so bad it's good film, and I guess I can't blame them. I mean, this is about a killer kitty cat. This immediately conjures up images of stinkers like The Uninvited, another killer cat movie that's completely ridiculous. That is not the case with The Black Cat. This is a beautifully made supernatural thriller with some truly amazing gothic imagery. Anyone who's a fan of Fulci knows that he really likes to use a lot of close-up shots of his character's eyes. The shots of the cat's eyes in this movie are stunning and sometimes haunting. Fulci does a great job of making this ordinary house cat seem ominous. Sure, The Black Cat isn't as exciting as Fulci's more visceral horror films, but it's certainly worth tracking down. It serves as proof that Fulci was a truly talented director who had a hell of a lot more going for him than just blood and guts.
I would like you all to do my now supernatural pet black cat a favor and reference this film.